Hey, what's up, y'all? Just making sure I jump into some videos for a shoe that I haven't done before. And what I'm realizing is that there are a ridiculous amount of cues on here. So I decided to go back to the old school format for doing videos and show you guys the Zion paper that's inside of the box. And I'm going to close this up because I have this window open. And you can see information about the shoe. That's this weird dip, man, where the tongue keeps falling. Right here. Like when you put it on, it just kind of flops back down. You see that? Go figure. I would assume that's because it has this huge, I'm going to sit this right here real quick. Pull this out. It's got these huge two bands not attached to the tongue. It's not attached to the tongue, but there's this feeling of like elastic. I said it was two bands. It's not two bands on the inside of it, on the tongue at all. And I want to see if I can get the insole out. The insole is glued down, but I'm going to pull this up real quick because if I can move this up, you can see underneath. You see how it's puffy? That's the zoom strobel. Now, I'm going to scroll down over here so you guys can see the breakdown of the shoe. And the zoom strobel, obviously, the first shoe that had the zoom strobel was the KD. I think it was the 11? I'm not sure, but try to move that down. I shouldn't have moved it at all, man, because my gosh, it's sticky on the inside of this thing. And moving it back to where it's aligned the correct way inside of the shoe is hard. But I got it. So I'm going to move that up so you can see the inside of it and make sure I got that straight. And I know that's hard to see because I'm using a small angle here, but it says it's got the 00023 and the 5 dots at the top. Inspired by greatness, engineered for flight, 23 Jumpman, and then it has a topographical kind of map thing happening there. But Zion, I love basketball, right? Most of us that are deep into sneaker culture, we all kind of love basketball. Nike made a signature line for a guy that's played 82 games in 3 years. Or 85. I can't remember what the statistic is. He was supposed to be a phenomenon. It was going to be a once-in-a-generation talent. And it's starting to shape up like Kevin Durant and Greg Oden. And that sucks because he reminds me so much of Barkley. And he has a much better handle than Barkley. Zion has a better passing acumen. And I think a lot of people that are in the NBA, it's like they didn't watch him in high school. This guy could pass the ball like a true point guard. He's just a really special player. So it's understandable that Jordan Brand would come in, give the guy a sneaker right away, and make him a signature athlete, and then produce the shoe. So what I'm going to do is turn this and read the label to you guys so I can get it in. And I'm glad I'm doing it this way because over here to my side you can see this video that's giving you a breakdown of the shoe and it's explaining the tech that's in it. The shoe costs $120. The Jordan Zion 1, and this is the Planet Z. The color is Cone, Black Hyper Jade. So Black Hyper Jade. Style code is DA3130-800. Now I'm not going to get into the UPCs and all of that. There are so many small details on this shoe. It feels a lot like the Dame Lillard. Feels like Dame Lillard. I wish, and I do, I understand that they have this Z shape on here because, you know, Zion has that Z in his hair. And obviously Z, the Zion name. And I get the fact that it has all of this additional welding, even though it's a lightweight kind of shoe. The materials are more lightweight. When he busted out of that Paul George in college, I'm pretty sure that scared the heck out of every brand. And they were like, oh gosh, when we make a shoe for this guy, it's got to be really strong. So we have all of these overlays. I'm going to sit this down real quick because when you start looking at the shoe, you recognize that everything is welded. So you get hyperfuse, is what Nike calls it. You get a ton of different materials in ripstop. And this is a mesh, but underneath, there's a band. There's these strips that go across that keep the foot locked down here because we know he has a lot of torque. And the shoe, this thing is not flexible at all. It's made like a stability running shoe. That's not a positive in my opinion. I understand that he's going to need a ton of cushioning and the impact for when he lands. But he's in that same boat when I talk about guys that have to be careful of how they land. He's in the same boat as a person like Derrick Rose was, who was so explosive going up and coming down. He had to learn how to land before he, stopped hurting himself. But the Planet Z, first thing, because it's called Planet Z, I'm going to show you here close up that Zion Williams logo that's on the planet right there. And then you have the Zion here at the heel. Kids will wear this. I think in a lot of instances, people, when they make basketball shoes now, they make them with the intent that they're going to groom a new generation of basketball fans. So they make these really colorful kind of shoes. And what they do is they fail to acknowledge the fact that, oh, geez, old heads like me, this is not something that we would wear at all. And they're targeting kids. But kids are not necessarily rocking basketball shoes. So what the brand should really focus on is creating something that's more beautiful. I get that he has to have a shoe that's much more sturdy. And it's got a ton of padding around the collar, even on the inside of the shoe. And the cushioning, like you see it right there, full length air, full length zoom. You have a zoom pod underneath. But this is not a good looking shoe, man. It's a lot like the Dame Lillard where you see it and it's like aesthetically, nobody's rocking this off the court. Kids who are rocking it, they played in it, probably played the basketball season and they're wearing it at the end of the season. And there's a ton of different cues on here. If you guys can figure out what they are, I'll read them. They're hard to read. NBLY. DY, that's here at the heel. It's hard to see because, like I said, I'm not using the traditional camera. I have to do a different video for that. But you have this air zoom here. And it has Shock the World on the medial sides of the shoe. Over here, that Shock the World. And then it says Let's Dance. Here at the front, Let's Dance. And then underfoot, you got Spartanburg. John, Kim, Flo, Toy, or Joy. Durham. Toy and Durham. He's got a lot of acknowledgement of family members, I think, on the bottom of the shoe. Family members and location, Spartanburg, of course. Sharonda, coach. He's got his coach's name on here. Mr. He does strike me as a super humble kid. It's really frustrating to see the stuff that's happening to Zion. And I know I haven't gotten into any of the cues that I typically dive into, like dates of production and stuff like that. I'll do that as well. Small code is VW1. That's made in Vietnam. The dates of production are, let's see, 04, 14, 21 to 06, 03, 21. And I guess this is becoming less of a nice padding. And it feels like foam inside of that. But it's that same kind of material that's on the GT cut where I said it was like Anafoam from Under Armour. It feels the exact same way on the tongue. Zion is a guy that is so big and powerful. It doesn't matter what he's wearing. And you do need to have a considerable amount of cushioning impact for a player that size, right? Who can run and jump that quickly, who can change directions like a lighter player. You do have the width, and the way this is made here on the outsole, the width of this, you see how wide that is? That's to prevent the foot from rolling. So when you look on the top of it, you get this kind of outrigger. And that's a functional aspect of the outsole to prevent it from rolling over so easily. But for some reason, when I look at this shoe, it does not look like the shoe of someone who's going to be selling a lot of sneakers in the future. And it feels short-sighted on the behalf of Nike to create a shoe that's more quirky than it is legendary. So here's this guy who's got a shoe deal straight out of college with the greatest brand in the world, Jordan brand for basketball. And what we end up getting is something very Russell Westbrook-like. And you ask yourself, who is it made for? And it feels as if they were preparing Zion to sell more shoes in Asia, as opposed to saying, hey, let's make him a homegrown star here in the United States. This different colors work better. The white and black version of the shoe works better than this Planet Z version. We get that he's not from this world. We also get that, man, the cat can't stay healthy. But Zion, if you go back and you look at mixtapes, and I'm going to wrap this up. If you go back and look at all of the stuff from high school, how many games a year that guy played, and I've talked about this over and over, Zion's body only got a break in college. He's a guy that should have stayed in college for 2 years. His draft stock was not going to be hurt. He needed the time to rest. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, when you sit down and you recognize, or you start talking about basketball, and you talk about athleticism and athletes, high school athletes who are going for that big money. And I know it's like, man, if he gets hurt, then he loses out all of that money if he stayed in school for 2 years. And there wasn't an NIL at the time. But he would have benefited tremendously from staying in school for another year. He would have learned how to take care of his body. You know, and Duke is a professional program. He would have been in much better shape. Maybe at that point he would have been a little bit more forceful and had a lot more input, which I'm pretty sure he had input on this shoe. But maybe he would have had a lot more input, because right now it seems to me a lot of the Nike basketball shoes, like I have my mouse hovering and you can see the why not that's over here to my side. They look very similar. And that style, it's not very good looking at all. It doesn't excite anyone. Even this black and red version here, a bread colorway for the Zion, they're made for kids. They're made for kids. And they should have taken the time to think about the idea of making him more of a legacy guy. That was more than just this dude that was going to be a showman for the kids, man. He was going to carry the future of basketball as this explosive Charles Barkley, Magic Johnson hybrid, right? And I know somebody's like, Magic Johnson. Go back and watch Zion pass the basketball in high school. If you followed high school basketball and you watch this guy, he had passing court vision like LeBron. That's a fact. Go back and watch it. It would have been great to have seen him have more of a traditional design on his shoe. Dang, this was kind of brutal, wasn't it? That's it. I'm going to wrap it up, man. It's the Zion 1, the Jordan Zion 1. Sucks that he's hurt, but I hope in the next iteration, I hope that he comes back and he's like Joel Embiid. And he heals. And he has an incredible career, because this guy is amazing. Oh, real quick. dates of production, you do have a QC stamp. And that QC stamp reads 0628 2102. 0628 2102. My second date of production was 0608 21. Oh, wow. You talking 20 days, man. That's good. For one of the 21 shoes. A lot of the shoes did get processed well. But we're going to wrap this up, man. A little bit different video. A little bit longer video. But, you know, Zion, he needs a little bit more time. And that's what I'm giving him here. A little bit more time. Let me look at this shoe. This one looks a little bit better. That's the Bayou Boys colorway. Bayou Boys colorway. Pretty positive that's what that color is. Let's dance. Look at that close up. Huh. Doesn't say. I'm pretty sure that's the Bayou Boys colorway though. Listen to the sound of this. That's a hard shoe, man. I think if he's got really good cushioning and a segmented outsole, it's a little bit more segmented than this. And I'm sure they have this torsion so the shoe can't move. They have so much foam here so it can't move. That's why it's there, because he's so heavy. But I got this feeling, man, he would function much better. He should have signed with adidas. Damn, that felt bad to say, didn't it? I mean, it shouldn't. He should have signed with adidas. His high school career was wearing Hardens. And that first Harden, that was more of a traditional looking shoe. It was a leather toe and suede. And he had a masterful high school season and AAU season. And this is the thing. The reason I bring that up, I said I was done. The reason I bring that up is because I think he's going to bounce back like Joel Embiid. I hope he does. All right, for real, that's it. I apologize. I'm done. Peace, y'all. Get better, Zion.